Aidan Blackwood wasn't used to losing control. At just 24, he had built an empire, taking Blackwood Enterprises into a $1 billion company. His name alone sent shivers through the boardrooms. Women adored him, men envied him, and competitors feared him. But none of it matters the day he saw her, Amara Williams. She wasn't dressed in designer clothes. She wasn't from a wealthy family. She was just a 19-year-old university student, juggling multiple jobs just to stay afloat. He first saw her outside a bookshop, arguing with the cashier over a book price. She looked defeated. "I'll come back next time," she said with a sigh, placing the book down. Aidan had bought the book the moment she left the shop and had it delivered anonymously to her door. That was the first time. Then he found himself watching over her in ways he couldn't explain, paying her tuition anonymously, ensuring her sick mother received the best medical care, and covering her rent when she struggled. But he remained a ghost in her life and never revealed himself until fate forced them together. Amara worked late shifts at the coffee shop near her university, trying to make ends meet. One night, as she closed up, she took a shortcut through an alley, a decision she would regret. A group of men blocked her path. "Where are you going, sweetheart?" one sneered. Fear paralyzed her. She tried to step back, but they closed in on her. Then, a deep voice cut through the air. "Let her go." The men turned. Standing at the alley entrance was a tall figure in a black coat. His piercing blue eyes filled the ice-cold rage. Aidan Blackwood. One glare from him, and the men bolted. Amara, still shaken, looked up at her savior. Thank you," she managed to whisper. His expression softened. "You should be more careful," he said to her. And then, before she could ask who he was, he disappeared. That night, Aidan realized something. Watching from the shadows wasn't enough anymore. He needed her closer. Months later, Amara landed an internship at Blackwood Enterprises. She had no idea it was his company. Aidan had pulled strings to ensure she got the job, but she had no idea he was the CEO. She only knew him as Mr. Blackwood, a man she rarely saw but heard whispers about. "Don't get too close to him," her coworker warned. "He's ruthless." Yet, the first time she truly met him, something felt familiar. "You are the man from the alley," she realized, her breath hitching. Aidan simply smirked. "Welcome to Blackwood Enterprises, Miss Williams." Her heart pounded. There was something about the air of danger and mystery around him that terrified her, yet excited her also. And Aidan, he was already in too deep. Working under Aidan was both thrilling and terrifying. He was intense, demanding, and brilliant. But whenever she was near, his cold exterior seemed to crack. Late nights in the office led to stolen glances, accidental touches, conversations that went beyond work. She tried to fight it, but she was falling hard for her boss. What she didn't know was that Aiden had already loved her for years. But secrets don't stay buried forever. And one night, everything came crashing down. Everything unrevealed. Amara overheard two executives talking. The boss has been funding some girl for years. One of them scoffed. Must be his secret mistress. Amara froze. He paid her tuition, covered her mom's surgery, and even saved her from losing her apartment. Aiden. It was him all along, Amara thought. Her blood ran cold. Was she just a charity case to him? A project? A guilty pleasure? Heart racing, she stormed into his office. Tell me the truth, she demanded, her voice shaking. Was it you all along? Aiden's jaw tightened. He could lie. He could protect himself, but he couldn't. Not with her. Yes, he said vehemently. The words shattered her. Why? She whispered, tears burned in her eyes. Why would you do all this? Because I love you, he said. She staggered back. No, it wasn't love. It was power. He had controlled every part of her life without her even knowing. You never even gave me a chance, she whispered, her voice breaking. You played God with my life. And then she walked away. For the first time in his life, Aiden Blackwood lost something money couldn't fix. Days turned into weeks. Aiden became a ghost. He barely showed up at work. His company suffered. The media called it the fall of the youngest billionaire. The rival company framed Blackwood Enterprises in a financial scandal. Stocks plummeted. Board members resigned. Investors fled. And through it all, Aiden didn't care because he had already lost the one thing that mattered to him, Amara. One night, Amara saw a news report. Aiden Blackwood, once untouched, was drowning, she saw in the news. And then she realized something. He hadn't controlled her life. In fact, he actually had saved her, protected her, loved her in a way only he knew how to. And she had walked away from his love. She couldn't let him fall alone. So she decided to return, not as an intern, but as the woman who refused to let the man she loved lose everything he had built. She stormed into his office, empty whiskey bottles on his desk and his tie undone, his eyes hollow. Aiden, she whispered. His head snapped up. Amara, he said. She stepped forward. I know the truth now. You never tried to control me. He swallowed hard. I never wanted you to feel like you owed me in any way, shape, or form. She smiled through her tears. I don't, but I do love you. Aiden stood slowly, his heart racing. You mean that? Instead of answering, she kissed him. And just like that, Aiden Blackwood, billionaire, kingmaker, feared by the world, was utterly powerless against the woman he loved. This time, They would walk through life together, not as a secret, not as a mystery, but as two souls that had always belonged to each other.